focus, everybody. Fill the gap. And looking right at me. There we go. Ready? Here we go.
We're getting, yeah.
Awesome. Okay,
No.
everybody, all I do real quick.
We didn't get. No. Yeah. I think we have to film the.
Save yourself. What are they probably got?
Okay, very good. Yeah, we need a few more shots.
Here we go. Flips. Are we good? Looking at me. There you go. Perfect. Everybody straight ahead. All right, so now we're going to trim. Just all right, guys, everybody looking at me, right over here. All right, everybody looking straight ahead. All right, thanks, everyone. Both of you guys looking right at me. Perfect. One last time. Straight on, right in front of you. Right there. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah, we'll shoot this.
Good to see you, buddy. Very good. This guy is great in the movie. Hey. Oh, JT Mollner. You did a great job. How are you?
What was that like? I mean, I heard you guys. I mean, do you have blisters still from this?
Not right now, but I did for a while.
What was it like? 400 miles.
By the end of it, that we walked total, it was like 50 miles.
Isn't it about time I spend more time on the beach with a metal detector or just in the backyard with my dog? Straight on to me, my friend. That's perfect. Have it up in here. And down here for a couple of
The script was, JT's script was so, there was so much room for characterization. There was so much room for me to bring something interesting to the character because, Hank speaks with a very specific kind of cadence, and that was something that I brought myself, and I was like, I hope these guys are going to be okay with it, and they were. So I'm happy that they let me play around with that.
Oh man, I mean so much, honestly. The source material, Francis, and then the cast. I mean, the cast was definitely the thing that, especially as the experience went on, it was just such a gift and a blessing to get to meet these guys and to get to form these friendships that are going to be lifelong in a way that is so special and really rare. So yeah, it's hard to think of things that weren't exciting about joining this production. I played Gary Barkovitch in the film. He's number 5, and I think what sets him apart is that he definitely feels like an antagonist maybe a little bit at the beginning, but I think he honestly really just wants to have friends, and this is like the first time he's with guys his own age in a way that's actually really wonderful and exciting, even though it's in the most grim circumstances imaginable. So yeah, I think that made it a pretty specific journey for me. But again, then making friends with these guys genuinely, it became a really, really beautiful experience. So fortunately for that character, his desires were met through the experience. But yeah, he's an interesting guy for sure.
The fact that it was kind of said that this movie would never be made, and the fact that people were kind of like, we're never going to do it, and the fact that a movie hasn't been made where you're just moving the entire time as an actor, to do something that's never been done before is kind of something you can't pass up. Oh my God, I feel like the kind of nice bit about him is that he isn't that unique. I feel like he's feeling something that everyone feels at that age, and that's kind of hard to play truthfully, and you hope that everyone kind of sees that and goes, I relate to that person. Extremely in touch with how he's feeling in the moment and tries to question everything that he feels. They're all just kind of my friends. That's kind of it. Like, it's a real privilege to work on a movie and actually enjoy the people that you're working with and go get drinks with the people you're working with, go get dinner with the people you're working with, and feel like every day you get to just work with a bunch of people you love. He was just allowing of questions, which is kind of all you can ask in a director, is for them not to be so kind of set in their ways and allow for each movie to affect them differently. And he allowed this movie to affect him, I hope, completely differently. I've never worked with him before, but it felt that way. And he was incredibly giving to us and incredibly open for us to question everything. Oh my God. I mean, there's so many reasons to go see it, but the biggest one is the fact that you get to see a lot of people love each other pretty aggressively, which is awesome. Incredible. I didn't talk to Mark very often because I kind of made a decision to not to, because I wanted to try something out. I've never done that before. And because also he was a very likable guy, and he was so sweet and so kind, very charismatic, and I wanted to hate him as best as I could. But now I've grown to meet him and know him, and he's just the loveliest.
You know, I think it's, first of all, Stephen King, Francis Lawrence, they're just such amazing filmmakers, writer. You know, I really love this story because it feels unique. It feels like something that feels, you know, in the past, but also very current. And I think that the young men in this are just, they are young men. And I just think, yeah, highlighting different sides of what it means to be that. I think it's, I just love that in the script. So I play a character called Peter McVries, and you know, he's had a hard life, and I think through his struggles he finds ways to connect with people and realise that life is about other people, not just himself. So yeah. Oh well, Francis Lawrence honestly is a master filmmaker. I've been watching him since I Am Legend. You know, Hunger Games of course is masterpiece films, but I really do love him as a human being, and he really just gave me free rein, you know, to find this character and understand him in ways, but secretly he's steering me in the right direction. You know, he's really a wonderful filmmaker, so I loved working with him. Oh, you've got to see this in the theatre. It's just it's a thrilling piece. Like the sounds, just the feeling of this is like only unique with an audience, with people, and I think it stands out. It speaks for itself. You know, I think people are really going to love this movie, so they should come and watch it.
I mean, absolutely. I read the book 3 times before I stepped on set, but what drew me to this? All these boys. I mean, J.T. Mollner, Francis Lawrence, Stephen King, Lionsgate, it's a match made in heaven. And then you throw Cooper and David on top of that, and I get to join their ranks. Maybe the greatest honor of my career so far. Yeah, look, Stebbins is a brooding character. We're not too sure why, and he keeps to himself. He keeps his walls up, and in some ways he's viewed as an antagonist, but I wanted to bring some heart to that. And, you know, I consider myself a very kind, easygoing guy, and Stebbins is quite the opposite. So it was fun to work as an actor and challenge myself to find the difference within me. But he harbors a secret, and we're not too sure why, and towards the end of the film you begin to understand, and I'm sure you did as well. It's hard to describe in words for those who weren't there. And I think that the people that were there, it was a very beautiful experience, and I learned so much, and I grew so much as a young man amongst these other young men, and it was so pivotal in my life, and it taught me a lot, and I'm so blessed to have been able to learn and grow amongst these people, this is a brotherhood that I will carry with me forever. And not only that, but it taught me that brotherhood can look like anything, all shapes, all sizes, all colors, and we can all find each other, find companionship with one another in this life, and I think that's what I learned most from this. Francis gave us so much freedom from the wardrobe to the props and to the character choices that he really allowed us to make these characters our own, and I think that's why you see such visceral performances in this film, because he gave us this freedom and he allowed us to find the characteristics that we recognize within ourselves but also within these characters, and thanks to him he led us with such conviction that we weren't able to fail because he knew what we were doing there. And so even if we would make a choice that didn't necessarily work, we knew that we were safe because he was guiding us. This film needs to be experienced on the biggest screen possible. The sound design and the VFX and the world building that Francis has made needs to be seen on the biggest screen. And in a way, I think it brings cinema back, and it reminds people why we want to go to the cinema, because of the heart of this film and the shock value of it as well. It keeps you on your toes.
I mean, Stephen King I'm a huge horror fan, and Francis Lawrence and JT Mollner, it's a dream team. And the film is fantastic, and I'm just excited for everyone to see it. There's so many good things about working with it, but I mean, the brotherhood is incredible. We're all super close, and I think we made something really special that I hope resonates with people for a long time.
When I got the audition, I learned that I didn't get that much information. I think it was just like 2 pages and make my own monologue, and that's what drew me first, was making my own monologue. And when I got a call back and I learned that who's all behind it, I think that kind of like sweetened the deal. I was like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting this. Like, this was all unplanned. I thought it was just going to be like an audition and boop, that's it, on to the next thing. I feel like growing up in high school, I was reading Misery. That was a really, really good book. And also like watching the movie too. That was, Kathy Bates was, oh wow. But yeah, just like a troubled guy. I don't know. He definitely takes his armor off. The guy takes off his armor.
Feels really good because a lot of my heroes were trying to make it first. Frank Darabont and George Romero, and it's the fact that I'm able to be part of, like, I'm able to be a piece of this group that brought it over the finish line. It feels really, really good. Well, I love the book, and I love Stephen King, and his characters are so well drawn and perfect, and I've always wanted to adapt something by Stephen King. So when Roy Lee asked me to do it, I said I would love to do that. I was looking for a writing job at the time. It had a lot of it depended on who was going to direct it, and when I found out Francis was going to direct it, I was really excited about it, and then I had to convince him to let me do it. So that meeting went really well, and I realized and found out in that meeting that he wanted to direct the movie that I wanted to write. So it was great. I mean, it's cinema. It's Stephen King. It's Francis Lawrence. It's the actors. Everything about it is cinematic, and I feel like it's one of those stories that the reason we took a 400-page novel, depending on the print, and turned it into a movie is so people could be totally immersed in it. And I feel like it's meant to be watched on the big screen. Not that it won't be good in other forms, but I feel like this is where you should be watching it, in the theater.
Francis Lawrence, probably number one. The script, number two. I immediately, after I read the script, I got the book and read that. Stephen King is like, I mean, he's the genius. He's so prolific, but there's real thought and love and intention in every story he writes. And so to be a part of bringing that to life for the first time, I was in a remake of one of his movies years ago, and it was like really fun, but this is like, we're creating this. You know, we're really bringing this idea to life that he wrote in it came out in 79. It's the first book he ever wrote. It's a big honor. Well, I have a stepson named Lucas, who I'm probably obsessed with, who is about the age of these boys. And the thought of, this movie was written to sort of as a comment on the draft of the Vietnam War, and the idea of my son getting yanked away from me and sent to do this thing that he didn't necessarily want to do. I don't know, I wanted to be a part of the story. I wanted to show what I think a lot of mothers have gone through over, generations, centuries of watching their sons sacrifice themselves for a country. Well, he's a real actor's director. He loves actors. He respects us. He seems somewhat delighted by us. For as long as he's been directing movies, he's not tired of us. I don't know, he makes us feel like we're coming up with the ideas, and that's the best way to manipulate an actor. Yeah, it's really incredible to work with him.
Well, the premise alone is so off-putting. I thought, I'm not going to forget about being in it. I don't know if I can watch this movie. But Stephen King has an ability to establish a premise which grabs your attention. And once you get into it, you realize, oh, it's not about the guns and the violence. It's about the relationships of these young guys on the walk. They're the heart and soul of the movie. And I found that about the book, and I thought J.T. Mollett captured it perfectly in the screenplay. And then I had a conversation with Francis Lawrence. I wish he could be here tonight. He's overseas making another movie, but we just agreed on so much. I said, now I've got to do this. So I'm glad I did. It pushed me out of my comfort zone, that's for sure. Well, he never takes his glasses off, and that's why I'm trying to emulate him tonight. I'm not taking these off ever. I'm going to watch the movie in these glasses.
Well, I've always wanted to work with Francis. The cast was brilliant. It's a great project. I actually read the book when I was like 2 years ago prior to reading the script, and yeah, I loved it, so it's great to be a part of it. Yeah, it's good. It was good fun. It was a bit like summer camp, you know. No, I had a good time. I wasn't there for long. I was only there for 2 weeks, but yeah, I had a good time. I had a great time.
It was one of my favorite books growing up, and I've always thought of it. And after producing it, Stephen King said I could choose from his titles, and this one wasn't available at the time and just became available 2 years ago, and got the rights and put it together. It just was perfect casting. They all, like, what's great about it is, like, they didn't know each other when they started. They all became friends, and as the movie progressed, they started to get picked off and have to leave the project, and it felt like they were losing their friends, and it was just like an amazing process. It's just so realistic and brutal, and it's like people aren't going to expect what they're going to see.